All right, welcome back to another GTN Coaches Corner, where we will answer your triathlon training racing related questions. This week, we are answering what exactly is recovering on recovery days.
And also, what does an easy week actually look like?
And what is the right breathing pattern for swimming when racing?
Plus, we have some quick fire questions on running this time.
And what is the optimal cycling cadence? Send your questions in using the hashtag GTN Coaches Corner. On to the first question.
Yeah, so Chesbeck asks, greetings from Denmark. Hashtag GTN Coaches Corner. When we talk about recovery days or a day off from training plan, are we recovering specific muscles or is it the cardiovascular system that needs recovery? For example, after interval running session, is it my leg muscles that need to recover or is it the cardiovascular system that needs to recover? Could I, for example, train swim intervals with a pull buoy to spare the legs the day after a hard run session? Well, the quick answer to that is you're recovering everything. Anything that you used in that session is going to need to recover before the next session. The heart and lungs, if you have worked them really hard, are going to need to recover. Your muscles, if you work them really hard, are going to need to recover. However, you can go into a hard session after that last hard session for a couple of reasons. One, because your heart and lungs are going to recover pretty quickly, you'll be able to push again pretty hard. Your heart is literally designed to recover on the go because it doesn't ever really get to stop, does it? You can push quite hard because you're going to be using slightly different energy systems. You're going to be using slightly different muscles to do a swim session, for example, after a hard run session. So as a triathlete, you can back up hard sessions on top of hard sessions.
Yeah, but it is important you're mindful of just that overall strain. So yes, as James says, you can go off and hit out another hard session or other sessions, but that overall strain is really important and you don't want to be digging yourself a hole. The recovery days are there for a reason, and if the plan has been structured correctly and well, then yeah, they'll be there and serving a very good purpose. So make sure that you're making the most of that time.
You can't do hard swim, then hard bike, then hard run and go, well, it's been 3 days since I did a hard swim. I can do a hard swim again and just never have a day where you don't have a hard session. You will definitely end up in a hole. Okay, next question is from TryDM972, hashtag GTN Coaches Corner. I have a question about easy workouts. Everyone talks about hard training weeks, but almost no one talks about easy weeks. Tell me what kind of workouts, volumes and loads should be performed during an easy week.
Another one. An easy week should literally be that. This is an opportunity for your body to absorb and adapt and really benefit from all that hard work you've put into it. If you keep pushing on through and not really valuing the importance of that easy week, you're not going to get better in the long run, really.
Yeah, for most people, that's probably a reduction in training volume and intensity of like 25 to 50%. But actually, you'll see the top pros reduce the volume almost not at all and just take the intensity out of that week, and they'll still get to the end of that week feeling recovered and ready to push on again with some really hard sessions. Whatever yours is, you need to make sure that at the end of that recovery week or recovery period, you are ready to push again. And if that means doing like 25% of what you normally do, then that's what you need to do. The whole point is building that long-term consistency so that you can push on for the next few weeks before the next recovery week comes. If you get to the end of the recovery week and you think, I'm so tired, I don't want to have to start pushing on again, you haven't done the recovery week right.
And how often have we seen that or heard people doing that? Really try and resist that urge. Also, on that point about some athletes, and particularly we see some pro athletes doing that high volume but low intensity, you also see a lot of pro athletes doing very low volume, and it really is individual. It isn't dictated by how fit you are, and just because you're fitter you can do more mileage. In fact, some of the best athletes in the world really knock back the volume and intensity, it's important that you learn what's right for you.
We should probably point out that your mind is a powerful thing and it will trick you. So when you've got used to being tired all the time, from training all the time, you'll be a little bit exercise addicted. And after like maybe only 1 day or maybe 2 days of easier training, when you're supposed to have a whole week, your mind and body are going to go, no, we're ready, we're good, we can go, we can push on again. Don't fall into that trap. Your body and mind do need the rest, and it's just your stress hormones going, whoa, we're okay, our stress hormones are fully stocked up again, we're ready to be stressed again. No, you need to actually properly recover. Make the most of those recovery weeks. You will see long-term consistency.
And another really important one about that is that a lot of people find that during a recovery week or just a day or two, they actually feel really rubbish. It's almost like their body catches up with them and goes, oh, thank goodness you've rested. And they're like, and their response to that is, well, I feel rubbish, I need to get back training. And actually, you're feeling a little bit rubbish for a very good reason. Your body is trying to catch up with itself and adapt.
Resetting. Yeah, we could probably do a whole coaching corner just on recovery.
All right, next one from Elliot Dickinson. Hi GTN team, what swim stroke is best for racing? Every 2 strokes? Breathing just to one side, or bilateral breathing every 3 strokes? I understand breathing to one side can create imbalances, but bilateral can restrict oxygen
I think it means
intake.
what breathing pattern rather than what swim stroke, because definitely front crawl is the best swim stroke for racing. Okay, breathing pattern is, it's whatever gets enough oxygen for you to swim the intensity that you're swimming for that race. And for most people, that is actually breathing more often, probably every second stroke to one side, choosing one side or the other, and in your race, just breathing to that side. Now, that does sound like it's going to lead to imbalances. However, it doesn't really, and you can't sacrifice that imbalance for the lack of oxygen that's breathing every 3 strokes is going to bring. That doesn't mean that in training, you shouldn't learn to breathe both sides and you shouldn't switch breathing both sides. However, even having said that, you can balance out your stroke with breathing to the left and breathing to the right without ever actually bilateral breathing and breathing every 3rd stroke, alternating sides. You could just do every 50 meters you swim breathing to the left, and the other 50 meters you swim breathing to the right, just to balance out your stroke. And then on race day, you just pick one or the other depending on which side the wind or the chop is coming from, and you breathe to just one side, breathing every 2nd stroke to make sure you get enough oxygen. Yeah, I've always breathed every 2, and I couldn't tell you which side is my preferred side either. I just kind of, if someone's swimming on that side, I'll swim. I've always breathed every 2 too, and I definitely have a preferred side. Okay, all right. Very much so. I have never really balanced out my stroke as much as I should have. All right. Now we're on to a bit of a quick fire round, specifically around running. First off, try and answer them as quickly as possible. Do I need elastic laces? You don't need elastic laces, but really they cost you nothing, and they definitely help you put your shoes on, especially when they're wet and clammy and sticky in transition. How about for long distance triathlon? Even in long-distance triathlon, you don't want to be spending time faffing with laces in transition. Elastic laces just work, and they're easy. They don't do any damage. All right. Yeah. How can I eat whilst running? And should I? You should, especially if you're doing a longer run. Anything longer than about an hour, you should definitely having something to eat. And in a triathlon, if you've already depleted all your reserves, you should definitely have something to eat. How? Find something that you can actually take in on the go. Gels work really well for this. Liquid fuel also works really well. You might just want to mix something, a fairly strong energy drink, get that calories in whilst you're running, you'll be able to absorb it. Don't eat McDonald's burgers while you're running. Should I do hill reps for a flat triathlon? I'm going to say yes, because I think it makes you a good and robust athlete. And actually also for certain times of the year when you maybe don't necessarily want to be running at super fast speeds, you can get in a good high intensity workout and reducing that risk of injury by running at these high speeds. Exactly. Good point. Okay, last one. Is running once a week enough to see improvements? I'm going to say yes, it is, depending on where you started. However, what you really want to do to see improvements is strain yourself with running, and then as soon as you recovered, go for another run. Now, if that takes you a week to get that recovery, then run once a week. But as you get fitter, you'll probably find that it only takes 2 or 3 days before you recovered, in which case you probably should put another run each weekend so that you are making the most improvements you can without risking injury. So yeah, you can see improvements with 1 run a week, but pretty soon you'll be fit enough that you stop seeing improvements and then you need to bring in another one. I'm not sure that was the answer I was looking for when I submitted that question, but yeah, more than 1 run a week, Mark. Okay, final question. This is a big question now from Emma G00. Is there really an optimal cycling cadence? Higher cadences, 85 to 100, are often cited as being more efficient, but my understanding is those figures are based on studies of cyclists rather than triathletes. I've heard some long course pro triathletes like Lucy Charles Barkley and Ruth Assel state that they prefer cycling with a lower cadence. Should we focus on optimizing cadence, or is it better to just go with what we prefer? Wow, there is an optimal cadence for you. Everyone has their own optimal cadence. That's going to be dictated by a whole bunch of things. Sometimes your physiology, part of it is your neuromuscular recruitment, and some of it's just your training. You're going to get better at what you do, so what you're used to, and therefore you're going to get the most efficient pedal cadence is going to be whatever's specific for you. And for some people that's going to be somewhere on the lower end of the range, like 78, and some people it's going to be up above 90, and a whole range in between. But having said that, different pedal strokes or different cadences do kind of change the physiological cost of the cycling.
Yeah, so a higher cadence obviously requires less pedal force with every revolution, meaning less muscle recruitment. But obviously there's more revolutions, and as a result, it's actually going to require a higher oxygen demand, and therefore we will often see a heart rate spike or increase a little bit more. And again, if you're not used to that, you might see that spike even more so because it'll feel so bizarre and odd.
Yeah, the converse is obviously a lower pedal stroke is more muscle recruitment, which means a lower strain on your cardiovascular system, probably less higher heart rate, less breathing, but slightly more muscle damage. So again, it depends on what you're used to. Now, for a triathlon, you do maybe want to err more on the side of saving some of that cardiovascular fitness for the run leg, because you still have to do a whole run leg, which you're going to be breathing hard and your heart rate's going to be even higher than it was on the bike for that whole run leg. So you might want to err on the side of lower cadence. However, if you're not used to a lower cadence and you do muscle damage and you're going to get off with really sore quads, that's not going to do anything for your run. So yeah, it really kind of depends on what you specifically trained for. There isn't an optimal cadence that we can say everyone should be riding at 85 RPM or whatever it might be. There is an optimal cadence for you. You can shift that with training a little bit higher or a little bit lower if you want to, but we'd say be wary of doing too much of trying to shift that. Rather just get really efficient at the one that you are comfortable with.
Brilliant. Well, great questions. Thanks ever so much for sending them in. Keep them coming using that hashtag GTN Coaches Corner in the comment section below this video, or any video for that matter. Thanks again. See you next time.
Goodbye.